next film is the 1992 adventure romance Far and Away, directed by Ron Howard. It stars Tom Cruise as a young Irishman growing up in Ireland whose family loses their home and their land. He goes to seek vengeance for that, running from the landowner, and runs into his daughter, Nicole Kidman. And what eventually happens through some plot contrivances, they end up fleeing to the United States, seeking their dream of looking for a better life. And Nicole Kidman more motivated by kind of making her own way instead of just having everything handed to her, and Tom Cruise looking to get what his father always thought was important, which was his own land. And eventually a romance develops between the two of them. And this is it has a lot of historical things. It's a historical
adventure movie,
but it's cast in some way. It's not trying to teach you any sort of lessons. It's not trying, like, timeline wise, like, it's not trying to be historical.
It's historical fiction.
Yes. Right. Thank you. And when I first, growing up, this film, I love this film. Like, this was one of my favorite films. Don't ask me why. As a young boy, I thought it was, everything worked. I loved it. I hadn't watched it in years, so I watched it again recently for this review. I was expecting to love it just as much. It doesn't stand up quite as well as what my memory was, but it's still a very enjoyable film. So for me, it's a 3 stars out of 4.
You know, I think the problem with this movie, did you see it in theaters?
I don't think so, no.
Well, it was filmed in 65mm, which is very expensive. You know, it's used for epic movies. It's only been used twice since, with Kenneth Branagh as Hamlet and Paul Thomas Anderson in with the Master. It has this big epic scope. It has talents of Tom Cruise and Nicole Kidman, a super couple at the time. Character actors called Cole Meany and Robert Prosky, directed by Ron Howard and produced by Brian Grazer, and yet it just didn't add up to much. Some of the scenes just, it was just hard to take a lot of this stuff seriously. I mean, sometimes it was played too far, and it veered into melodrama, like cheesy melodrama and camp. Sometimes it was not enough, and the 2.5 hours, this movie is way too long. It's meant to be a cross between Titanic and more appropriately Gangs of New York, but it doesn't come close to either one of those things. It looks great, but I just didn't really buy the characters. I mean, Tom Cruise and Nicole Kidman, they've been better elsewhere. They were much better together in their next film together, Eyes Wide Shut, which is a movie we should review at some point. But it's just a lot of the stuff I just couldn't take seriously, or I just didn't care.
Yeah.
And there are some moments that do work. Robert Prosky is fun to watch, but it's just kind of just there, It doesn't really engage with me. I think this might be one of those movies that would work a lot better on the big screen, but even seeing it on Blu-ray, I just didn't like it. I give it a 2 out of 4.
Okay. Well, the thing that works for me is, the adventure stuff. Some of the scenes are fun. When his whole fighting thing, I enjoyed those, and the big the race for land at the end. But I thought really the romance I liked, because where so many romances start from the point of two people clearly like each other.
Yeah.
You really believe that these two really do not like each other.
Yeah.
And over time, it develops, their feelings for each other develop. I felt like that worked. Not that it's a great romance, but I felt like it worked. It was a little bit different. And I mean, they're still, this is them at the, their most, two beautiful people, charming.
Right.
So I like that. So it's still a little bit better for me. Like I said, it doesn't hold up to what I thought as a kid, where I was just blown away from it. And I'm glad you mentioned Titanic, because I could very much see James Cameron having watched this film and thinking, I could do this way better.
And he did.
Yeah. From everything from having the historical center point, the romance with the
visuals,
with the upper class female, and having the boyfriend, the suitor, the upper class suitor getting in the way.
Right.
I mean, seriously, I seriously think I would not be surprised if he told me that he watched this film and it was like, I'm going to do this in a better way, and then Titanic, is a masterpiece.
Yeah.
So, but okay, well,
2 out of 4, 2.5 out of 4 for Far and Away.